Hi, my name is Kip Wilson, and this is my school community relations case study for parental apathy using ISLLC standard number 4. Category 1, problem identification and analysis. What do you know? We know that Mrs. Rose is in her first year of administration, serving as the assistant principal at JFK Middle School. We know that JFK has very little parental involvement and no programs that would facilitate any involvement. There were PTO or PTA type organizations in the past, however they are no longer in existence. The head principal is skeptical about the creation of parent groups to be involved in the school. And we also know that JFK has no real effective procedure or strategy in place for communicating with parents or community members. What do you need to know? I need to familiarize myself with the community demographics and the attitudes. I need to identify the modes of communication that are available to both the school and the community. And I also need to find out what community resources and/or organizations exist and determine whether or not their involvement would be beneficial to the school. Finally, problem identification. The lack of parental involvement is an obvious problem, along with the lack of communication between the school and the community. And anytime you have a communication problem there's probably a lack of communication procedures and strategies in place. Category 2, proposed plan of action with appropriate strategies for implementation. My first plan of action would be to start with creating a community profile. I want to gather information regarding race, culture, socioeconomics, languages, traditions, anything I can get my hands on about that community in order to better understand the needs and the attitudes of that community. Number 2, create and implement a communication strategy. I would use the community profile that I would create as the foundation for the following steps. But in using this community profile and school data, I would identify target audiences and the modes of communication that would be most effective in reaching them. Finally, the last portion of this plan of action would be to create more opportunities for parents and community members to get involved in school activities. Using the newly developed communication procedure, I would invite parents to attend events, encourage parents and community members to upstart organizations centered around school improvement and/or aid. Now, obviously, the school would need to facilitate or basically put some parameters in place for these types of organizations, but to encourage people to get involved. And last, to reach out to community resources and invite them to create partnerships with JFK Middle School. And when I say community resources, I'm talking about civic organizations, businesses, just the groups and the individuals that are present in the community. Category 3, resolve the issue based on promoting the success of all students. By creating a community profile and using school data to help in solving the issue, action has been taken to address the backgrounds and needs of all students. When you look at the racial and cultural breakdown of your community, the language barriers, the income levels, academic performance trends, attendance, you're really looking at the needs for every student in your building and trying your best to address those and fix problems that might be present. Next, the adoption of a new communication strategy will aid the school in targeting all involved audiences. The usage of a variety of types of communication will result in increased communication with those audiences. Again, I think the community profile is important here. When you talk about income levels, you can kind of get an idea of who has access to what, and percentages and statistically, who can do what in your community. But when you employ email, social media, newsletters, TV, radio, the idea is to use as many modes as possible to reach out to as many people as possible. In that way that you're attempting to reach out to all students and are going to have a much better chance of reaching them. And finally, providing parents and community members with the opportunities to get involved will enrich the learning environment by exposing all students to a variety of positive experiences. This can be anything: a civic organization, helping out with an incentive day at state of assessment time, using Lions Club funds to help a kid get to the eye doctor, get new glasses, community businesses coming in and helping out with career exploration or career preparations through OJT or mock interviews or anything like that. As this idea of collaboration with community members becomes a much more positive experience, the potential there reemerges for the establishment of parent organizations. Category 4, debrief the problem by reflecting on what you are thinking, feeling, and valuing by identifying issues that are unresolved or open to further investigation. In reading through this case study, I assume that the lack of parental involvement extended in the community. anytime there's a lack of parental involvement, I just figured that would be across the board with community resources and members as well. So my approach for solving the problem had to include all community members, and not just parents. The target was to get all community members involved in the school. Also, based on the head principal's comments, I couldn't help but think that the part of the school's problems were due to a lack of two-sided effort and communication. So we could say that the parents aren't getting involved, and it just doesn't work for us. And those comments weren't maybe positive or proactive as I would like to have heard. And so I felt like there needed to be two-sided effort, meaning that the school needed to step up its efforts to reach out. And also, in creating a plan for solving the problem, I assumed that this community had similar modes of communication to my own community, if not more available to them. Any unresolved issues? In looking at my solution and kind of applying it to the situation here, the thoughts came up. If the steps are created and are effective, will the head principal come around to the idea of the PTOs? I mean, that was kind of up in the air. He seemed kind of, I don't want to say closed-minded, but he seemed a little bit negative to the idea. If the steps created are to be effective, there will need to be a total buy-in from the staff. So the next question I had was, what type of culture is present among the staff? What am I working with my teachers? Are they go-getters? Are they complacent in with what's going on? I needed to know about that school culture, and would that be a separate issue in its own right there? Just how the school staff would react. And also, will the parents respond? The word apathy, it's kind of a scary word. Even though you create more opportunities and better communication, that may not remedy parent apathy. So that was an unresolved issue and a concern. Category 5, reflect on Standard 4, providing evidence that you, the building level administrator, promote the successes of all students by collaborating with families and community members, responding to diverse community needs and interests, and mobilizing community resources. Component 1, by improving the communication process and providing parents and community members more opportunities to get involved at JFK Middle School, I increased the exchange of information, creating an environment where collaboration is encouraged and facilitated by the school in a manner that will benefit all students by creating new experiences for all learners. Component 2, by creating and using a community profile as the foundation for the newly created strategies, along with utilizing a wide variety of communication tools aimed at reaching all audiences, I am identifying, understanding, and responding to the diverse needs of all the students and community members. And finally, component 3, the identification of community organizations, businesses, etc., and reaching out to them to become involved in the school in order to create a variety of new learning experiences, along with encouraging them to collaborate with the parents in addressing community needs, shows that I effectively utilized community resources in addressing the issue with parent apathy. That is my presentation. Thank you for your time, and